have people coming in. Up to here? Nope. Okay. Okay. We have 2 new members since the January meeting, which was canceled from the snow, it freezes. Rebecca Bourquet and Teresa Gargio, but I don't think either of them are here, right? Okay. They didn't check in if they were here. So I'm sorry if I butchered their names, but if you know who they are, you can correct me on that. For finance, our treasurer back here, the sales tax on the June plant sale was paid in January. So is that something that they just accumulate?
Because we so little and infrequently, we've now gone to yearly file.
Okay. That makes sense. We only have the one sale. The plant sale is in June. Speaking of which, hopefully you're starting stock for the sale. I don't see people going, yeah.
And you could come to plant rescues to get plants for the sale.
Absolutely. Both of those are good things. Well, it's unfortunate. I started over a month ago, I started planting some seeds and they weren't growing. So I've planted some more into little pellets and stuff like that. But that Arrow Garden is starting to work. That's something that Jonathan McCanson gave a class about last year. That part is working some. So at least we'll have a couple dozen plants for the sale. Okay, we need a lot more than that. But current balance, we have $5,948.99, which we don't have specific things that we spend that on. So it's, we need to be looking at investing in, if we do more garden installations, we'd love to do that. Is that something where we could be, putting in money or whatever, but the more the merrier. We've been installing down here sort of south and east of Blairsville, and we had the installation last fall, not this fall, and a lot of it didn't survive the winter, which, normally that's when you plant it so it can get established, get the roots going. And then I'm not sure, we had a late freeze, whether that was part of it. It's a place where it's actually a little rather isolated. So it's not like people are going in frequently to check on them, water things. They don't have water access there, so you have to bring water in. But this Monday, we are actually having a workday evaluation, see what needs to be put back in. So if you're interested, last I heard, it's going to be at 11 o'clock. Meet at the gate, because at this point, Beasley Knob, which has an off-highway vehicle trail back there, that's the main thing it's been known for. It now has a day use site, so hopefully it will bring in more people, but it is not open during the winter. So, but I have a key for it. So if we meet at the gate at 11 o'clock or thereabouts, and if you're going to be a little late, make sure you have my phone number. Let me know to come out and let you in. To do that, to check out, see what needs to be done, and do any preparation stuff that we can do there. Okay. Larry was talking, well, I guess you were just maybe talking to him about a possible garden installation at McKaysville Chamber of Commerce. This is sort of a nice thing because it was being suggested by somebody who's with the Tri-State Model Railroad Club. So it's sort of nice to know that word is getting out there, a little bit more spread. We don't really know much yet about, it's a garden about the size of the one that's at the Tri-State Model Club in Mineral Bluff. So a pretty small one, but again, any installations that can have signage that says, yes, these are native plants, join and make all your plants native.
And once we get it installed, employees will maintain it, who's the wife of the president of the Model Railroad.
Oh, is that how? I didn't know that that's what why she was going. So that way, once it's installed, we don't have to worry about having somebody who's going to come in regularly to make sure it's not being overgrown with other weeds or anything like that. So that will make that a lot easier. Okay, so as I said, help with design and installation will be needed once we get it confirmed. Is it confirmed that they want it there? We don't know for sure if they want to have the
It was
native plant
Renee's
garden.
idea, now she's got to go to her boss,
She-
and we said we were in.
She wanted to make sure that we were okay with supporting it, and so we'll get word back for that. So, and if anybody's up towards McKaysville, that might be an easier way to jump in and help with that. Okay, recent events I have on the agenda here that I taught a master gardener of native plants. He has a special affinity for herpetofauna, herbafauna,
Snakes.
especially snakes. And it says here, relax, I don't think he brought any. I like snakes. I haven't, since being up here, encountered any poisonous snakes yet. I like the snakes. He led his first plants rescue as a facilitator in October of 2010, presumably out of the Atlanta area.
Mm-hmm.
And among other things he's going to say, is that we need help with that as well. Not just the rescues, and that's a wonderful way for you to learn about the plants and have a step in that, but we need more facilitators too.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you, Taryn.
Okay.
I think I need to get you to log in here
Okay.
because we're going to put the website up here.
Okay. Wait, this is... Okay.
Well, good morning, folks. Thanks for coming. And if I did have a little, if you want to follow along, I do have some forms about what I'm going to talk about. If you want one, Larry or Taryn, perhaps you could pass some out, just to follow along, and it'll give you an idea of where we're going with the conversation. And then there you go. All right. Well, let me ask first. I know that Robert has been on rescues, and Robert's been involved with GNPS for quite a while. Has anybody else in the room been on a GNPS plant rescue? Okay, good. We got a couple here. Where have you gone? Hiawassee? Near Hiawassee. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, that was a unique rescue, a specific one for the lady slippers, correct? Yeah. Well, the plant rescues, unfortunately, we don't have anything going on up here in the North Georgia chapter, and it would be really exciting to get something started. And that's where I want to go with this conversation. But first, let me start and talk about what is a plant rescue. Rescues are there. We're talking about Georgia Native Plant Society authorized plant rescues, and they are in the most basic form. It's a volunteer effort to save native plants from imminent destruction. Our plant rescues do not pull plants from just out of the woods. It's for a site that is slated for development. The program was started way back in 1994 by a lady named Jean Reeves, and she was one of the founding members of GNPS in Metro Atlanta. And as the story goes, she was driving along, saw a site, a bulldozer actually out working, and there were native azaleas in full bloom. And she stopped, and she went over and asked the dozer operator, could I dig these azaleas? And they let her, and essentially that was the beginning of the plant rescue program. GNPS formed right at that same time, and she led the rescue program. What is a rescue? It's a 2-hour dig. They are typically 2 hours on a site that has been approved for us to access, privately owned properties. Occasionally there's state or county owned properties, but we've gone through the legal steps to be on the property, and we will dig typically for 2 hours. Sites range in size from individual home sites to hundreds of acres. We've had properties that became the Paulding County Reservoir, hundreds and hundreds of acres. Sometimes we have these sites for as little as a few days, a week, and sometimes, like the Bluffs in Canton, we've had it for, I don't know, Robert, 2 decades, at least 1 decade, at least 10 years, if not 15 or 20. So the sites can really vary dramatically. And you know, the types of plants that are on them is, you know, as great as everything that there is in Georgia. I mean, we see, because now with the chapter program, which didn't exist when I started with GNPS, it was all basically Metro Atlanta. And now with the chapters spread around the state, and I believe all of the other chapters are sponsoring rescues at this point, or most of them, if not every single one. And GNPS members can go to any rescue anywhere in the state. It's not just North Georgia chapter, but you can rescue plants from, you know, from the coastal plain up here, you know, to Fannin County and everything in between. Uh-oh. Keep this thing going. All right, so why do we rescue? Well, they're a major benefit for the members of GNPS. And again, I'm sorry that there's so few people in here who have been on rescues, but you understand how great it is. The plants that you dig, most folks take all of those plants and they plant them on their properties. Occasionally, we'll ask for donations of what you dig for plant sales. There's also restoration projects that go on at different chapters, and we'll ask for donations. You know, give us 1 or 2 of your plants, where we may be looking for something specific, like, you know, give us your, can you donate 1 Christmas fern, that kind of thing. And somebody will take those and they'll go to a restoration site or some sort of more public type installation. A lot of the plants that you will find are not available in the nursery trade. I mean, there's you know, there's so many plants that grow out in the forests around here that you just don't see. There's all kinds of little perennials, there are shrubs, you know, all kinds of woody plants, trees that you will never find in the nursery trade, and they're all available to you on a rescue. You don't have to know specifically that much about them. That's why there's facilitators like myself. We're out there to help you, and there are really knowledgeable people on every rescue. I have kind of a lower mid-level knowledge of native plants, and I'm always astounded when we go on the rescues. The knowledge out there is really pretty astounding. You learn to identify natives in their natural environment, which is very helpful when you're transplanting them. You know, you can tell what's a sun plant, what's a shade plant, what's in between, and you know, you need to try to duplicate that when you transplant it. You'll learn about plants you've never even heard of on a rescue. There are so many, and there's a few folks that I know of in GNPS that can really identify just about everything. Ellen Honeycutt, who's the chairman of GNPS, she's one of them, and Ellen has an incredible blog. If you ever want to learn more about natives, it's easy to find her blog. If you're looking for a specific plant and you type it in on Google, sooner or later it's going to take you to Ellen's blog, and she is brilliant individual when it comes to plants. Another reason to rescue: share your knowledge and learn from other like-minded folks, which was just what we were saying. There's an astounding amount of knowledge with some of our members out here. And then finally, you get out in the woods and you have a good time. I mean, it's all, how great is it just to be out in the woods, especially with like-minded folks and, you know, walking around. The sites, I would tell you, are, you know, they vary just like all the terrain around Georgia. If we were to have sites up here, you could consider you're going to be in the mountains and you're going to be doing some uphill, downhill kind of work typically. Some of them are very flat, very accessible. Some not so much. It really varies. So now what I'd like to do is walk us through the website. I don't know how familiar folks are with the website, but GNPS, it's gnps.org, and it's a wonderful site. And to get involved with the rescues, you simply log on and drop down here to Plant Rescue. And this really kind of tells you everything I'm going to talk about. I'll have a little bit more information, but you can learn pretty much everything you need to know about a plant rescue. That's me right there. That was a long time ago on a real short rescue that was in East Cobb County, and it was going to be a big residential development. We only had like 2 weeks, and it was full of native azaleas and whatnot. It was a wonderful site. So when you go into the rescue site, if you start here at Plant Rescue Frequently Asked Questions, this will in fact answer just about any question you might have. And you see this, who can participate, and yes, you can bring guests. We had that question earlier. You don't have to be a member to participate, but you only get one shot at it. If you're not a member, you can come as a guest. You have to sign up, and I'm going to walk you through that process also. But everybody has to sign up. We don't allow uninvited guests on any of the rescue, so keep that in mind. Yes, you can bring your spouse. I believe, I might need to check on this, but I think all of the memberships are family memberships, and you can bring a spouse. How do you learn about rescues? I believe, do all of you get notices about the plant rescues every month? Okay, all right, good. And I'll talk about how those get lined up. You can go to, how often can I come? You can go to every single rescue you want to, anywhere in the state. So as much as you can. Will there be someone there to help you? Yes, absolutely. Every rescue has a lead facilitator and at least one other facilitator. We won't have a rescue without minimum of two facilitators. One leads and one is the co-facilitator. Generally, there's 3 or 4, depending on where it is and how many people sign up for it. And then, really, you can't minimize the importance of the fellow rescuers. Again, there's some incredible knowledge. There are people out there who specialize in certain types of plants. There are azalea specialists, grass specialists, and they attend these rescues as well. And they're just a wealth of information. So there's always folks to help. You don't need to know your native plants. You'll learn so much on a rescue. Just absorb what you hear. How hard is it? If you can walk in the woods, you can use a shovel. That's how hard it is. What will you find? Different things on different sites. When you go, if you sign up for a particular rescue, there is generally a list of plants that will be on that site, and it's usually a partial list. There's usually so many you really can't list everything. So it's sort of a guideline when you see that. Joining the society, that's easy enough. Where are the rescues? Again, they're all over the state except for North Georgia right now, unfortunately. and we're going to talk about how we find sites, what kind of property. Yeah, properties that are best for rescues. If we can start getting some folks to submit some possibilities, it's always helpful if there's water on a site, be it a small creek, large creek, whatever. And what we're not looking, we're looking for diversity on a site. If it's just a pine forest, it's probably not going to be worth digging. So we're always looking for diversity in the plants. But folks would go once you if you submit a potential site, GNPS facilitators or whomever will go out and get permission and survey that site to make sure there's enough plant material that we would want to rescue before it turns into a rescue. We're going to talk about that. Whom do I contact about sites? Can you go back on your own? No, you cannot. You're trespassing if you get caught on somebody else's property, and we're not going to help you. Supplies, there's a list of what to bring on a rescue that goes out when you get your instructions about the rescue, if you've signed up for one. Basically, bring a shovel and some plastic bags to carry your plants out of the woods. I've got a sled that I use when I go out, just a long plastic sled that you can get at a hardware store. It was you can load up your plants and hook a rope to it and pull it out, because some of our sites are relatively close to the parking area. Some are not so much, and you got to hike a little bit to get to and from your car. And if you've dug, 10 big Christmas ferns, that weighs a lot. And you've got to figure out, you've got to walk them back to your car by yourself. Everybody's got their own, hands full. So people they'll bring wagons and wheelbarrows and whatever you can fit in your car sometimes to get to and from. But basically you put your individual plants in plastic bags, and it can be, like an Ingles bag doubled up, or the best things that we found are like a Nature's Helper or mulch bag, bigger, larger bags, and put your plants in those to get them out of the woods. Are the plants we dig going to live? Well, that's up to you, but and we stress when you get your instructions for a given rescue that you bring water for your plants, and you water them you keep them in those plastic bags, and you water them good right as you get them back to the car. It's really, what I have just through experience found is really the key to keeping your plants alive. Get them watered as soon as you get them out of the ground, especially if it's in the summer and it's dry and whatnot, and then get them in the ground as quickly as you can in good soil and get them watered in. It's amazing how hardy these plants are. You got to almost go out of your way to kill them, frankly. I'm surprised you were talking, Taryn, about the Beasley knob, that a lot of them died. I'm wondering if some of them are going to come back this spring. I don't know, but yeah.
Part of it also seems like most of them that died were on the side of the bed that got washed out.
Oh, yeah.
They had to go back in
Mm-hmm.
because the way they all channeling all that water through the right hand side. We had to put the mulch back in.
Oh, yeah.
Several of us have tried to construct barriers to diffuse the water.
Yeah, they don't like that, constant disruption. They'll take a little bit, and they are amazingly hardy, but yeah, you can't just keep messing with them nonstop. We've talked about where did all the plants go, but the great majority, in fact, 99% go in your own yard, on your own property. You dig them up, take them home, and you plant them where you want them. Finally, can I sell the plants? No. This is not, it's not the intent for GNPS. It's not a money-making endeavor for the individual rescuers. They're for your own personal use, or for plant sales or restoration projects. But no, you cannot sell the plants. All right, so that's all the frequently asked questions. Let's go to the rescue schedule here. And here you see these are rescue days. So this is for this month. There is actually, right now, there is a rescue going on right now in Powder Springs. And this is a new property. I haven't, since I've moved up here 4 or 5 years ago, I have not been to some of these properties. The farthest one I go, it's really the closest one, is called the Bluffs. It's in Canton. It's on the north side of Canton. And that's the closest one to us. But Powder Springs, yeah, I really don't know anything about it. But here you see, here's the date, the time. The times vary. In the summer, we start them earlier, like 8:30 to 9:30, because when it starts getting hot, we get in and get out. Again, every dig is 2 hours, scheduled for 2 hours. We ask you to be there 15 minutes ahead of time, because we will do what we call the talk, and we go through the rules for the rescue, and we have everybody sign the rules list, if you will, and then also there's a liability waiver that everybody has to sign, a legal document. But here you see there's a lead facilitator. There's always one on a rescue, and then here you've got 2 facilitators co-facilitating. And here's the plant list I was talking about. So it tells you, these are generally the most common plants that you're going to see on that particular site, okay? But you also see, I thought this was really interesting considering it's February. I guess everybody's excited and want to get out and start digging, but this rescue is full. And there's only, let's see here. I can do this without cutting us off, but yeah, see, so for February, we've got 1, 2, there's just 3 rescues, and every one of them is already full. They filled up. You know, when you got your notice, your email about the rescues, if you want to sign up for one, you need to do it very quickly. Apparently, this filled up in the first few days. I mean, what's today, the 8th? And these are already all full. And there's no set number for rescuers. It's up to the lead facilitator. Depends on how many co-facilitators they've got with them, and they can set the limit, and they can post when it's full. But typically on a rescue, it's going to be anywhere from 10 to 20 rescuers. Particularly on the big sites, there'll be or a new site, there might be a lot of people. So that varies. All right. But let me do this for you just to give you an idea. So let's say you wanted to go on this rescue, so you'd simply click on it, and oh, okay. I'm sorry. If this rescue was not full, it would you would type in your name and sign up for it. It's not allowing us to do this because it's full, but that's what would happen. You simply sign up on right here, and then you'll get, after you sign up, you will get a confirmation from the lead facilitator that you're included in the rescue, and then a few days before the actual rescue, the lead facilitator will send you another email that will give you the directions to the site, because we don't, they're kept quiet. These are not generally published sites. We don't want other people going there, knowing about it. You know, you kind of keep that within the membership. So they'll send you directions to the site and what you need to bring, and the start time and finish. Just confirm all of that, and that happens just a few days before the actual rescue starts. Okay, I think we're going to come back to, let's go ahead. We'll do report a new site. And this is something that we really need up here. If you know of a property that's about to be developed and you think it might, have some good natives on it that we would want to rescue, this is where you simply fill in your name, the address of the property that's in question, what county it's in. Typically there's some signs out. Click on whatever type of sign you see, and then plug in your contact information, and then any other comments that describe the proposed plant rescue that describe that site. Like, does it have water on it? Is it all pine trees? I mean, it's a hardwood forest? Whatever. But what happens if when you fill that in, if you see a potential site, fill this in, it will go to what do we call it? The umbrella organization. It'll go to, there's a rescue committee for the primary GNPS. I can't come up with the right word. Yeah. So there's a rescue committee that consists of Ellen Honeycutt and Marcia Winchester. They're over conservation for GNPS, and within that they run. They have a rescue committee. But what would happen is if you filled this out for a site that's, right down the road here, it would probably come back to me, since I'm the only facilitator in the North Georgia chapter, and I, along with somebody else, maybe I grab Robert, and we'd go. We'd get permission from the owner. We'd find out who the owner is, get permission. We would go survey that site to make sure it has some desirable plants on it, and then if we can go through all the legal, we have to get written permission, legal permission to start rescues, and that's how we get sites. I was talking to Larry before we got started. Really, the best way and the best sites we come up with, if you see bulldozers on it, we're too late in all likelihood, unless it's a really huge site. The best way is through county government. Here, Union County, if you can talk to one of the commissioners, talk to the building department, find out what permits are being let, and if you can get a sense of, how many acres it is and what they're permitting for, that's the best place to start. And contact that owner of that property or that developer. Let us do it, and then see if it's a possibility that they would let us in there and rescue. A lot of folks don't want to do it. They're worried about, all kinds of things. Oh Lord, GNPS is going to find, an endangered species on there and they're going to stop development. That's not going to happen. That's not what we're all about. Or, somebody getting hurt on their property and getting sued. That's why we have the liability waivers. So there's a lot that goes into getting a new site. But it all starts right here with individuals just filling this out. Yes, ma'am. It's a GNPS statewide procedure. Yeah, it's a formal procedure that we would go through to get permission and start the rescues. All right, let's see here. Let's go to all right, so we'll real quickly talk about these. These are the two articles that everybody signed, all the rescuers signed. We do this. You actually at the beginning of the rescue, before we actually go into the woods, we have the talk. The facilitators do, and these are the rules, and everybody has to sign this. And it's easy stuff. You won't come back to the property unless you're on a GNPS sponsored rescue. You know, you can't smoke, you don't bring tobacco, and you won't do anything to impede the development of the site, all that kind of stuff. We actually had years and years and years ago, we had somebody who went to the owner of a site that we were rescuing and started grousing about it. And if we start, you know, they didn't want it developed. Here's this beautiful site, you know, and you can't do this, you know. And we do go on some sites that are really beautiful with some, you know, a reservoir site I can think of in particular. It had this gorgeous creek that ran through it, and the whole thing was going to be flooded for, you know, a county reservoir. People get, you know, understandably, you know, just we're outdoors lovers, you know, and you see things like this, and you just can't, if you start impeding the developer in any way, and we would start to get a reputation, don't let GNPS on your property, so you just don't want that to happen. All right, now I'm probably gonna, what do I need to do to get out of this thing? Nope, there we go, got lucky. Okay, more importantly than that is the liability waiver. Again, you sign this at the beginning of every rescue, and it's a legal document that basically says you're not going to hold GNPS or the property owner / developer. You're not going to sue them if you twist your ankle walking around in the woods, or if somebody breaks into your car when you got it parked and you're on a, you know, that's all it is a liability waiver. And again, everybody has to sign that at the beginning of the rescue. Okay. Yep. Sure does. I mean, I was on one rescue. Actually, it's that one where in East Cobb years ago, and it had some gorgeous native azaleas on it. And this lady started digging, and she didn't realize she was digging right into a yellow jacket nest. She got hit 20 times, but she stayed on. And fortunately, you know, she wasn't allergic. If it had been my wife, we'd have been in the hospital. But stuff like that does happen. I mean, you're in the woods, things happen. But anyway, all right. So let's go. So we've talked about signing up for a rescue, and it doesn't show on here, but I'm just, for right now, I want to tell you, current North Georgia rescue sites, the closest one again to us is Canton. There's also Gainesville. There's one or two in Gainesville. Gwinnett County, which is not very close to us, but it's an old, it's a property that I used to go to when I lived in Metro Atlanta, and it's owned by the Gwinnett County School Board. And it's a big site, has some real interesting stuff on it that we've had for a long, long time, many, many years. Powder Springs, there's a new one over there, and then there's some older ones in Villa Rica, which is over in that same general area on the west side of town. So there's not many that are close. Canton, again, is the closest one. If anybody lives relatively close to Gainesville, that would be a good option for you to go to a rescue. All right, now let's talk about, well, before I go, are there any other questions on, while we're looking at the website? It's pretty self-explanatory, and I think honestly it's a very good website that has a lot of great information. Yeah, here I didn't even look at this, but you know, here's a description of the benefits of the membership with the rescues, and yeah. All right.
The site in Gwinnett that
Gwinnett County is northeast of Atlanta. It's up I-85.
I'm
It.
familiar with the area.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Well, it's a site called Cali Still, and I want to say it's on the when I would go from North Atlanta, I would go out 316 like you're going to Athens, and I can't remember the exit, but you would take an exit and go south, and it's a pretty good ways down there, if that helps you at all. It's not. It's certainly not close to here. Yep. You can come as a guest one time, and we'd like to encourage new members. So if a lead facilitator sees that there's a guest, they're going to try to get them in. It just kind of depends on the demand for that particular rescue. If there's a huge demand, the guest is probably not going to be allowed in. So it's again, it's up to the lead facilitator. And I should let you know that all of the facilitators, we have our own separate administrative access like you would have on the website. And when you sign up for a rescue, we will confirm that you are in fact a member. The facilitators can do that. So we have to confirm that's part of what we do. Yeah, was it $25 or something a year? Yeah. And think about going to a nursery. One plant, I mean, you're going to spend $25, and you can dig all you want on a rescue. Oh yeah, yeah. And the symposium, you mentioned that earlier. It used to be an in-person thing. Now it's all online, and it's an educational native plant symposium, and it's wonderful. There's I can't remember when that's coming up soon, isn't it? Of this month?
It's this month.
Yeah, but if you're interested, look it up, and it's a variety of speakers. It used to be a 2-day event. It's still okay.
But it's like a full day. It's like 3 or 4 hours
on
Saturday and 3 or 4 hours on Sunday.
Yeah, and you can sign up for whatever speakers you want to hear, and it's a great variety of topics on native plants. All right, so all right, back to my little sheet here. What is a rescue facilitator? In general, facilitators, we oversee every rescue to ensure that the rescuers follow the rules. We're there to answer questions, make sure that the rescuers have a safe and fun and pleasant experience. We're responsible for scheduling, coordinating, and managing each plant rescue. What happens is the rescue committee, Ellen or Marcia, kind of late in the month, they will send out a notice to all of the rescuers and see who wants to run a rescue, and we set the time, the date, what site we want to go to. Like I'll lead 2 or 3 at the Bluffs every year, and then I'll co-facilitate at another 2 or 3. It comes out the first week of the month. I think for the members, it comes out. You guys would know, but I think it's the first week of the month. And again, when you see the calendar, sign up as quickly as you can. You can always back out. You just send an email if you don't want to go. But if you think you want to go on one, go ahead and sign up for it. All right. Facilitators, we've been trained by GNPS senior staff. It used to be, again, an in-person thing way back when I got involved with it. It certainly was. And now it's all done on online. It's basically a Zoom call. They schedule facilitator training once or twice a year, and that's totally adjustable. It's whatever Ellen and Marcia want to do based on the interest level, if you will. And so, but we all have to go through the training process, and we were given a binder that has all sorts of information to keep up with, and yeah, a little box with all kinds of facilitator stuff in it, ribbon and stuff to tag plants, and extra vests. You see on this photo right now, everybody needs to wear a hunter orange vest on a rescue. The reason for that is some of these sites are very large. Occasionally we'll have people who like to wander off by themselves. You'll hear about this in the rules if you go to one, but you need to stay in sight of one of the facilitators, and this just help the orange vest just help us keep track of everybody. We don't want to lose anybody out there. Again, some of the sites are hundreds of acres. You literally can get lost on some of these properties that we go to. Let's see. Yeah, we oversee. There's always a minimum of 2 facilitators on every rescue. We're responsible for setting the date and time, and once it's all over, we have to submit the paperwork to the rescue committee, to Marcia and Ellen. All right, so becoming a facilitator. Yeah, the big problem I see with the North Georgia chapter, Taryn's doing a great job of running the show up here, but it would be so wonderful to have rescues up here. Before that can happen, we really need a couple of facilitators up here, and we really need some sites to go to. So if anyone is interested in becoming a facilitator, the first thing is to start going to rescues. And again, Canton's the closest one we got. But obviously you need to go learn what it's all about, how the rescues function, how they operate, what the facilitators do. Let the facilitators who are on that rescue know that you're interested in becoming one. It's good for us to recommend you to Ellen and Marcia, because ultimately they're going to have the say-so in somebody becoming a facilitator. What makes a good facilitator? I would say you need to be a good communicator, and you need to have a real willingness to help people. Because when you're facilitating a rescue, there's plenty of opportunity for you to dig, when you're there leading this group of folks, but people are always having questions. When we're getting together at the beginning of the rescue, we'll ask everybody what plants they're looking for. There's always people looking for ferns. Sometimes it's particular types of ferns. There's the Bluffs has big leaf magnolias, and there's always people they know they're there, and people always want to dig big leaf magnolias. Well, we know where they are, and we'll take you to these sites. There's New York ferns over here. There's milkweed out here. And all the facilitators, we usually divide up into groups of people who are looking for particular types of plants, because some will be in the forest in the shade, they'll be in the creek valleys, others are out in full sun. So we take you to whatever it is you're looking for. So you need to really be willing to help others, and it's just a fun experience when you do that. Extensive knowledge of native plants is not necessary to become a facilitator. Like so many things that we get involved with up here, it's like, other than Ellen, I don't know anybody who knows, a tremendous amount about native plants. You learn while you're doing it, and and there's no embarrassment to it. I mean, if you're there to facilitate the dig, the rescue, but that doesn't mean you know everything about them, and you don't know. I mean, people ask me all the time if I'm out there, what is that? And I'm like, I'm clueless. I'll have to ask somebody, and usually there's somebody there, another rescuer, that you can go to who might have experience in that particular type of plant. Yes. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. If everybody uses them, but it's like, you really trust it? Some are better than others, let's say. Yeah, but yeah, they do. Yeah, and again, you can attend the online training class if we know you want to be a facilitator. All right, so wrapping this thing up, in order to start a rescue program up here, we need to actually set up a rescue committee, which I would be certainly willing to be involved with, and since I'm the only facilitator in the chapter, but we need some other facilitators desperately. If we were to, just as an example, if we were to get a rescue site up here, I could lead, at this point, I could lead a rescue on a site, but I would need to recruit another facilitator from North Metro somewhere. Now, I know a bunch of the facilitators, and I could get somebody up here. But it's really going to be inconvenient for them, just like it is for you to go, to Gwinnett County or, whatever. So we need some facilitators, but if we had a site, we could make it work right now. But we need a rescue committee set up to coordinate all of this. Ideally, we would have 2 other trained facilitators here in the chapter. We need our members to be on the lookout for potential sites and submit them to the rescue committee, as I showed you do that on the website. And that's a real simple procedure. But anyway, that's kind of the show. So any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, absolutely. As long as we got some kind of information, it asks you on there, what's the site location, and then some sort of contact information for them. Okay, that's good to know. In Gilmer. So you're in LJ or down that way? Okay. Where is? Yeah, or again, the building department, just go directly to them and find out. They have a list, but it's kind of hard to tell what's what on that list. But it takes a little bit of research. But yeah, that would be great. Oh wow, that's perfect. Yeah, that would. I don't think it's in the Blue Ridge paper. I don't remember seeing that in the Blue Ridge paper. But that's a fabulous source. Yeah. Again, once you see the dozers on the site, it's probably too late. You got to get it, early on. And again, some of these sites, like I think this Powder Springs site, I think we've only got it for a matter of weeks. And then others, again, like the Bluffs, literally decades. It's the Bluffs site is hundreds, if not, it's at least hundreds of acres, and it's being developed slowly over time. I mean, like in what is that? That's Cherokee County. They're moving. They're putting a new high school on this site, to give you an idea of the scale of it, there's a new high school, there's a church, they're building apartment complexes. I mean, it's just massive. It's just massive. And it's still so rich in plants, it's stunning. But, and then others, I mean, it can be as little as, if you know someone who's going to build a home and they're going to clear a home site, if it's particularly rich, like I had a bunch of my facilitator friends come to our house when we built our house over in outside of Blue Ridge. I had them come up and rescue just where the house was going to sit and the driveway. Everything else is forest, and there was no need to rescue it. We don't want to rescue just out in the woods. That's not the point. It's for areas where the plants are going to be destroyed. But so it can be as little as a home site. It can be as big as a reservoir site. And but that's a great source. I'm gonna kind of look into that. What's the? I'm sorry. Times Courier. Okay. All right. Good deal. Thank you. Where are you all from right now? So we got Ella J, Blue Ridge area, Cleveland. Okay. Okay.